If your code is hard to read, full of weird errors, and a nightmare to debug, your variable declarations might be the problem. A very common practice in VBA is to declare all the variables at the top of a procedure. When you look at these variables, it is not immediately clear what their purpose is. You need to look through the code to find out where they are used and what they are used for. It's not such a problem in small subs like this, but in a longer, more complicated sub, it really becomes inefficient. Have you ever had a variable that contains an incorrect value? Tracking it down can be complicated if the variable is declared at the beginning of a procedure, as the variable can be updated at any point in the rest of the procedure. If we declare a variable where it is used for the first time, then it limits the possibility of the variable being accidentally changed. If we do a debug compile now, any line using count before the dim count line will be flagged as an error. So this makes it more difficult for these kind of errors to occur in our code. Law number 1. Declare variables close to where they are used. Doing this has lots of benefits. Not only does it make your code more readable and reduce bugs, it also makes it easier to maintain and to make changes to your code without breaking it. A simple way to make your code neater is to declare and initialize variables in a single line using a colon. This keeps your code concise without affecting its functionality. One of the most common mistakes in VBA is over-referencing cells directly in the code. This not only slows down execution, but also makes the code harder to read and understand. Every time you reference a cell, you have to check the spreadsheet to see what it represents. Then you must keep that in mind while analysing the next reference, all while trying to follow the overall logic of the code. This brings us to Law 2. Minimise referencing cells. A much cleaner approach is to use well-named variables. This makes it immediately clear what each value represents without constantly jumping back to the worksheet. When a value is stored in a variable, you can reuse it throughout your code, improving the readability. And once you're done processing the cell data, you can write the value of the variable back to the cell. Using variables instead of directly referencing cells will make your code look more like plain English and less like a chaotic mix of numbers. In this code we can see that there are multiple numbers. It is not immediately clear what these numbers represent. Some are column numbers, but there's no indication of which columns they refer to, and this makes the code difficult to read and understand. Another major issue is maintainability. If we needed to update a specific number, we couldn't simply search and replace it, since the same number might represent different things in different contexts. Worse, if we inserted a new column at the beginning, we would have to manually update every column reference throughout the code. This leads us to the third law: avoid magic numbers. A magic number is a hard-coded value in code that lacks explanation or context, making it difficult to read and modify. A much better approach is to use enums. These provide text representations for numeric values. With an enum, you only need to define the first value explicitly, and each subsequent value is automatically assigned to the next integer. By replacing magic numbers with enums, our code becomes much easier to read and maintain. If we insert a new column, we simply update the enum and all other values adjust automatically. We don't need to modify any other code. This means if our columns increase, decrease, or change order on the spreadsheet, it is very easy to handle it in the code when we use enums. Conversely, with magic numbers, this can become a nightmare, as imagine the complexity of changing a report with 100 columns. Another advantage of enums is that they are recognised by IntelliSense. If you declare a variable of the enum type and assign it, then IntelliSense will automatically show all the possible options. Make sure to click the link in the description to download the example code for this video. And if you want to learn more about writing great VBA code, then check out this video on the screen.